prompt that okay, great. Got it. Let me click off this. Great. So yes, I've got Las Vegas, we've got RR, US history, RR, okay, awesome. I love it. We have got a lot of diversity in terms of what people teach. However, most people are coming in from Las Vegas. I'm very excited to speak with y'all this morning. So, a little bit about me. Welcome. This is a presentation for the OER project for Nevada educators. My name is Kristen Biederman, and I am the customer engagement specialist with the OER project. And I'm coming to y'all live from sunny Seattle, Washington. We don't get to say that very often here, as you might know, but it's very sunny and gorgeous today. I actually just moved here from Dallas, Texas, where I've lived and worked as an elementary school teacher and administrator specializing in supporting students with special needs and English language learners for the past 8 or so years. And I just kind of joined our team within the last few months. So I'm up here in Seattle, but very excited to talk with y'all, super passionate about our course offerings and all the ways that they can be put together across content areas. So a little agenda of what we are going to get into today together. This is sort of an info session based thing. So there will be a little bit where it might seem like I'm talking for the majority of the time, but I definitely want y'all to be able to share out and kind of collaborate, talk to one another as well. However, if you have any questions at any time, feel free to stop me, put it in the chat, whatever, you're more than welcome to. But we're gonna go ahead and let's see, got it. So we're going to go over our agenda and our icebreaker. We're going to talk about what is OER Project, do our course overview, talk about the alignment that we have with Nevada state standards, then talking about reading, writing, and assessment in the OER Project, and then ongoing support and next steps. So we're going to our objectives today. We're going to learn about OER Project's history, philosophy, and mission. So that hopefully you'll be able to visualize OER Project in your classroom by examining course resources and standards alignment. You'll also learn about the interdisciplinary connections that are available throughout our courses. And then at the end, we'll kind of take time and explore the OER Project website and gain familiarity with its features. So, sound good, everybody? Great, excellent. So, thank you, Kelly. Claim, evidence, reasoning. Appreciate it. I love it. Sorry. Sometimes with I've noticed like sometimes what people call things like varies state to state. So there's times where it's like, oh yeah, I know what that is, but like we don't call it that. But awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, we'll go ahead. So first and foremost, what is OER Project? So OER Project courses are modern day textbooks. That's kind of what we always share. OER stands for Open Education Resource. So this organization was put together essentially to make sure that there was a free online comprehensive curricula for social studies available for all teachers online. We very much believe in teachers as professionals. We know that no one knows your students, your context, their needs the way that y'all do. Y'all are the experts, and we know that. So all that we really see our role as is giving y'all the materials to turn it into magic within your classroom and giving you the support on the back end and all the resources to make it your own and make it something that's a really powerful, impactful learning experience for all of your students. And then, of course, through all of our courses, we're really big on historical thinking practices, inquiry, and skills development. They all underpin all of the courses. But overall, I would like just to sum up OER in general in all of our courses, you see kind of on the side here. The first one was Big History Project, and we'll go into all of this in a little bit more depth, but we have Big History Project, so it kind of is the foundation of a single narrative and a framework for all knowledge. It's very broad. It's a really cool course. We'll talk about that in a sec. Then we have World History Project, which is mostly what we're talking about today, but it's built out into 3 different periodizations, as well as AP. And then we also have a Climate Project extension, which is really exciting and cool. It's like a 3-week supplemental unit that provides an overview of the global carbon problem, and students kind of are tasked with a project of like, what are we going to do about this? And I know that that's something that's very top of mind for a lot of the kids in our generation. So those are some of our offerings that we have, and we'll go through. So then common threads between all of our courses, right? So these are the 3 things that across all of the courses that we offer, you will see these. First and foremost, high quality and standards based, right? We've got to make sure that we have high quality instructional materials and they're aligning to our state expectations. All of it has been designed with the C3 framework and state standards in mind. And in a little bit, I'll show y'all kind of how to access that part once we get onto our site. Surround sound PD and support. So there's a lot of on-demand PD and live PD offerings, but we also have a ton of recordings and some self-paced modules on our site. So really easy for you to kind of get additional guidance, either from members of the OER team or from teachers that have been teaching it for a long time. There's always someone that you can get in contact with to support you with what you're working on. Finally, we have exceptional scaffolds and tools, and this is something that is very close to my heart as someone who has like devoted most of her career to working with kids with English language learners and special needs. We have graphic organizers, audio versions of our articles. We have Lexile leveled reading. So if any of y'all have used Newsela, Newsela, it's very similar to that, where you can adjust Lexile levels, and I'll show you all that in a little bit. There's also practice progressions and a skills progression placemat. So you'll be able to see kind of similar frameworks of activities progressing throughout an entire one of our courses, but increasing the rigor of the skill as we go along. So we'll kind of get into all of those. Any questions before we get going? No? Okay. So let's see. This is the part we will talk about the OER project course overview. So as you can see, the big one on the screen is Big History, because this was the original, right? So this is, so OER really started with Big History. Originally, OER project was called Big History Project, full stop, right? It was a course developed by Bill Gates and David Christian. And it starts basically at the beginning of time and works its way through all of the history of humanity. And so it's a really interesting interdisciplinary course that integrates a lot of science and a lot of just like different skills that you don't normally see in history, and gets kids to see it in kind of a different framework. And that's for middle school through 12th grade. Then on this side, you see the world history iterations that we had. As I mentioned, we have it in 3 different periodizations. So that would be origins, 1200, and 1750. The 1200, all of the units are very much aligned to like the College Board, AP periodization. A lot of people have made that connection. And then we also do offer our own world history AP course, which I believe is the only fully online available AP course that we have. But again, all of our courses have, like, there's a lot of similarities between our world histories, the difference being just the periodization of when they start. So then these are also super exciting. We have extension courses. So if any of y'all kind of already have like a curriculum that you're following, but sometimes you just need like a really cool project or something that is going to supplement that, these are some of our extension courses. So we have Project X, Project Score, and our Climate Project Extension course. So Project X, super interesting to me as kind of a math person. It's basically when students are reading and analyzing historical data and using it to predict the future. So it's kind of bringing, again, that interdisciplinary effect where we're talking about history, but we need our mathematician skills in order to look at this data. Like mathematicians are able to do that and, you know, apply it to history. So I think it's a really cool interdisciplinary project that gets them learning how to analyze data in historical context. Then we have Project Score, which is a big favorite for a lot of our teachers as well as for our students. So Project Score is kind of a choose your own adventure approach to writing. There's a lot of different writing prompts in Project Score. There's a lot of different writing activities, but probably the coolest thing within Project Score is that it has an automated scoring guide. So I don't know if any of y'all in your classes spend a lot of time either monitoring student writing, conferencing with them, going over their work, all of those things. Project Score honestly gives you a really good kind of assistant to just give your students the feedback. Like if you were going to go over every single student's paper with a fine-tooth comb and fix every little grammar error, every little thing out of place, that's what this does. So this really can take a chunk of your students' writing and give them feedback that they can implement without you having to comb through all that writing part, and then they'll turn kind of like the final draft to you sort of thing. So it's a really great way to have students get more feedback on their writing, because I know sometimes it isn't feasible to give every student everything they need to that extent in the moment. So that's something that is really cool and a lot of our kids and our teachers enjoy. And then finally, we have our climate project. So again, this is a 3-week supplemental unit, and it's designed to fit into high school or AP, but it can also, just like all of our courses, kind of be scaffolded. I know, like where I was teaching before, a lot of middle school students or upper elementary students were really interested in this kind of thing. And even though, you know, it wasn't seamless, we were able to kind of make the climate project materials in a way where it was comprehensible to younger students. So if that's something like that you're thinking of as well, you can always kind of scaffold it. But it's really cool. It's really something that a lot more districts and states are starting to adopt, is these standards about carbon emissions and like what students can do about them. So that's something that we're offering. And I would encourage y'all to check that out as well. But yes, so then we'll go into our state standards alignment. Before I do that, does anyone have any questions about anything I just shared? I know it was a lot. No, I'm just explaining everything super good. Ooh, we love it. Love to hear it. Okay, great. So now let's talk about our OER project and Nevada standards alignment. And real quick, pop quiz. What bird is up here on y'all's state standards? What is that bird? If anybody knows, you can put it in the chat. You can come off mute. Let me see. Dang, nobody knows. Well, these are always the, like, our thing with the, exactly, it's the Nevada state bird. Look, thanks, Meredith, we appreciate it. I don't know what it's called, so we can definitely call it the Nevada state bird, like the NSB. That's definitely the scientific name of the bird, I'm sure. Yes, exactly, well played. It's giving very much like, you know, I can tell we got some middle and high school teachers in here, because I know students will respond like that too. It's the Nevada bird, exactly. Fine. I would also say, you know, it's the bird with the blue top. I don't know, you know, but yes. So that's what we have here. But these are found on our teacher resources page, and you can see it's fully aligned for both Big History Project and our World History Project courses. Once we go on the site, I'll show you. But basically, within our OER project teacher resources, you're able to just click over to your state. Every state has one, and that's where you can kind of see the standards alignment more seamlessly. Then here we have some more information about our course content. So these are our core course assets. Pause to take in all the beauty of the slide, right? Okay. And the article, so we have articles, activities, and videos that I want to highlight for y'all today. So our articles, like I was saying, available at multiple Lexile levels. You can go ahead and toggle that. And so if you have students that are reading on different levels, you can still have them access the same lesson, just with different level of like reading comprehension required. So that part is great. They're also accessible as PDFs, editable Word docs, EPUB files, and all of this stuff can be downloaded or seamlessly like posted into your Google Classroom. So all this stuff very seamlessly integrates, and I'll show y'all that once we get onto the site. Our activities, we have a clear set of activity progressions, and then additional activities that's focused on student voice and choice and authentic context. So there's a lot of really cool activities. A lot of them do involve writing, which oftentimes a lot of our teachers are saying, like, you know, it's a ton of writing that kids are able to do. But some of the activities, if you want, I mean, obviously you can take it and you can make it into a really cool discussion. That goes back to kind of our whole thing of teachers as professionals. We believe in our materials, and our materials are great, but we need your creativity and how you're going to make it come to life for your students. So if there's activities that are writing based and you're like, you know what, I want to do a discussion, or I want them to make, you know, some Google slides about this whole thing, cool, do it. We love that. Then we're post about it in the community so we can hear all about it and more people can, you know, learn from you. And so then lastly, we have our videos. So there's an intro video for each unit that just kind of frames the overall unit question. And there's also content videos from experts within the field as well. And again, these videos they also have transcripts that are attached to them and downloadable. So if any students like would benefit from that, or you want students to try to read it, that's possible as well. But again, they can all be linked to your Google Classroom or however you're sharing with students. So now talking about OER project across social studies disciplines. So for social studies educators, the OER project, even though it's a world history curriculum, it spans the 4 major disciplines of social studies, which is civics, economics, geography, and also history. So under BHP, you can see that's one of the cornerstones, is that really that interdisciplinary approach. So they're often teaching students about, this is, this discipline applies to history this way, scientists apply this way. So they're learning about different disciplines and how they play a part within the world and history and everything they're learning in BHP. Civic engagement is very present within the climate project because a lot of it ends with, it ends with a call to action of them kind of figuring out how they're going to make a change in their community when it comes to the climate crisis. And then finally, maptivities, that goes to the geography. There's a ton of activities that involve maps, as well as just like maps that are there for visual aids. As we know, as students are learning about different places around the world and different civilizations and things like that, that visual aspect with the map can be really, really helpful in terms of them really internalizing and understanding it. So that is another great thing for students to be able to engage in within our courses. All right, any questions before we go into reading, writing, and assessment? No, she said, okay, run the slides and then we'll get to it after. Great, let's do it. All right, so reading, writing, and assessment. So as I said, one thing we know as teachers is everybody's a reading teacher, everybody's a literacy teacher, especially with these post-pandemic babies that we all know and love at this point, right? We are all sitting here reinforcing that reading. So something I love about our stuff is that we have a lot of scaffolds and a lot of tools for that. So our approach to reading, though, is really grounded in the 3 closed reads approach. And now I know you can already hear the student voices in your head when you say 3 closed reads and the kids are like, but Ms., I don't even want to read it 1 time. Like, how you gonna make me read it 3 times, right? But it really ends up being kind of like a 1.5 read once students get the hang of it. But the idea is that the first read, you're skimming, right? You're looking for gist. Yes, closed reading is critical. Thank you, Meredith. On the same page. Yes, so that you're skimming it, looking at the text features, kind of getting that gist. Then the second read, going for content and meaning, really getting to the nuts and bolts and like the main ideas of the piece. And then finally, on the third read is the interpretation. So that's when kids are making the connections and doing the higher level thinking. So that's something that you'll see. We have a few like graphic organizers for that 3 read approach. And so the idea behind it is, kind of getting students started with that scaffolding tool, the scaffolding and the tools, but then eventually making it so it's kind of just an automatic, like, this is how they learn, this is how they know how to read. And I think that that's something really special and really powerful, especially as we're sending kids, on to higher education, that they already have these really great academic reading skills. And again, once again, like I said, we got Lexile level articles, audio recordings, and downloadable video transcripts as a means of differentiating on these. Approach to writing. We hear a lot. Some of our teachers will say, like, their students will complain. They're like, oh, Miss, like, we write more in world history than we do in English. And, I think that's a good thing. But, kids, right, it's not always the most fun. But for teachers, we're like, yeah, you're writing. Exactly. But we have several opportunities for them to do it. So we have them writing both formally and informally throughout units. We also have a number of investigations, document-based questions, and assessments, like document-based questions and log essay questions that mimic other kinds of assessments that you may be also giving your students, whether it's through district, state, or national. And then finally, we have the integration with Project Score here, and that's where you can have them kind of submit some of their DBQs, or if they're working on them, drafting them, they're able to utilize that Project Score to get kind of feedback on what they submit throughout these assessments, so it doesn't all depend on you. Then here, this is what I was talking about, which is one of my favorite things, the skills progressions placemat, or the practice progressions placemat for each course. So right here, you can see this is for a world history, and this is for a big history. Again, I'll show y'all where to find these once we go on the site in a minute. But essentially, they lay out the scope and sequence of skills throughout the course. So if you can see on the side, it'll say things like read, like, it's very small, so I'm just kind of letting y'all know what it is. Like over here, it's like reading, writing, and like claim testing, different things like that are skills. And then across the unit on top, it just like shows you, okay, within unit 1, there's writing here, there's reading here, that sort of thing. So it kind of shows you, this is a really easy way to go and just like click on activities because everything is linked. but yes, I'll show you all that more close up once we get to our site. And then finally, we've got OER Project's approach to assessment. So as you can see, we have each activity, essay, opening, and closing is designed to be a formative assessment. As you know, as teachers in this day and age, it's all about collecting the data all the time. But what we love is that a lot of these activities kind of repeat again in different formats. So it's very cohesive. So it's very much like students may struggle on something initially, but then in the next unit, you know, at their second try at it, they'll keep getting better because it's kind of it becomes something that they've sort of seen before, and they become familiar with like the design and the expectation. And so it often really, we see a big increase in student writing proficiency. So then, yeah, so just to sum it up, we have consistent writing and presentation rubrics, activities that repeat and reinforce skills, practice quizzes on our lessons that are kind of like multiple choice, and then unit investigations, DBQs, and long essay questions. Finally, we have our awesome standalone tools over here. So a lot of these, again, can be used throughout content. So these are the ones that are, they're like, you can see there's a sourcing, there's a comparison, and there's a parsing. There's more tools than this. But for example, under sourcing, we use kind of like it's called Happy with the, as kind of like our template for students to be going through. So they're looking for historical context, audience, going through the rest of the process to find all of their sources. Then on the comparison tool, as you can see here, there's graphic organizers to lay that out. So again, the idea is kind of like with these graphic organizers, we're making those thinking steps for the kids very visual, so that then they eventually are getting to a point where they don't necessarily need these scaffolds, but they can kind of access it on their own and just like know, like, this is what I need to do in my mind. So yeah, those are some of our standalone tools, and we'll explore those in a minute. And here we go with connections to science. So again, it's always interesting when I talk about BHP and trying to put it into trying to explain it very succinctly to everyone, but essentially BHP, because a lot of people will ask after I do a world history presentation, sometimes they're like, okay, but BHP, what's the difference between BHP and WHP? And it's hard to do that really in a concise way. So I'm just going to share with y'all some of the stuff about BHP. So it's a perfect marriage of history and science. It's got an increased depth of STEM and science content, and it shows students how to do claim testing in both science and in history, which again, going back to the interdisciplinary skill set, is just something really cool that I don't see done widespread, but when kids do BHP, it just really expands their thinking in a cool way. So the units, as you can see, it starts with what is big history, so sort of framing the whole course. Unit 2, we start from the Big Bang, right? Because the whole idea of history is we can know history from oral tradition and things that we have written down, but we can also understand it from the aspect of, we have scientific tools now that tell us when stuff happened, or can explain, the diet of people that lived in a certain place, because we have scientists that have looked at their teeth and stuff like that. And so it's just very interesting. So you can see each one of our units are set up as once this happened, this was a level of increased complexity for the entire, humanity. And so it just kind of moves through these levels of humans throughout and the world throughout time, and shows how they're getting kind of more and more accelerated towards the future, and how the levels of complexity kind of keep expanding as time goes on. So it's very cool. But of course, it has the same formal and informal writing activities, and we often notice a lot of students increasing their overall writing proficiency throughout this course. And then again, the 3-week extension for climate. Again, like I said, 11th and 12th grade, usually using an evidence-based overview of the global carbon problem, and ending with students taking informed action in their communities. You think you missed the attendance link? I'm not sure. Let's see, hold on. All right, so then we'll talk ongoing support and next steps, and then I'll go take y'all onto the site. Kelly, I don't have the attendance link. I don't know if it's I don't know if Brittany has it when she comes back, but we will get you worked out before you leave us here today. So finally, something else that we love within our OER project. Oh, you're good, no worries. Okay, perfect. Same link as the opening keynote. I'm one of those people when I'm watching the chat, I'm like, sorry, distracted. We're back. All right. So the last thing is exploring the OER project online teacher community. So this is a really cool place in the community where you can connect with people across the country and across the world who are teaching our materials, who are teaching our courses. And a lot of times they're sharing best practices and, oh, I tried this in my classroom, or, oh, did you see this activity for unit 2? I changed this about that activity and my kids really enjoyed it. So it's a kind of like a forum, like a message board where you can go on and receive that support just from your peers as teachers from across the nation. And then also, as you're getting started, there's a special new to OER project forum, which is monitored by members of our staff, as well as teachers who are kind of our teacher leaders who teach the course and support other teachers with it. So you'll have, if you have questions that you post on there, you'll get a great response pretty quickly because it's very heavily monitored by our people. And then no additional login needed. You just need one login for your OER account. And then the last thing, and then we'll go on to the site, is just talking about there's a place, like we have self-guided modules for all of our courses. So if after today you're like, I definitely want to teach like this whole course, or I just want to learn more about it before I make a decision, you are more than welcome to go through these self-paced modules. Like this is the one for 1200, and you'll kind of see that it just goes through multiple videos, multiple little articles that you can kind of get a better idea of the whole course. But yeah, so that is where you can find those. And then right here, event@oerproject.com is the email that you can contact if you have any questions or ask away in the community. But before I launch into showing y'all the site, does anybody have any questions or that they want to have answered before we go into kind of a site demo? All right, does anyone have an account already for OER?
I'm sorry, Kristen, I have a quick question.
Yeah, of course.
Would you be using this just to supplement content you already have? Could this be used as possibly an elective course? Like there's enough content that you could teach an elective? Like what would you recommend is the best way to utilize the site?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think, I mean, it depends on your needs and your context. I see the questions in the chat. I'll get them to you in a second. But yeah, like, so our courses, again, except for the ones that I highlighted that were very much just like a supplemental, the Project X, the Project Score, except for those, everything else is set up to be a full course. So you're more than able to teach it as such, right? But it's also set up where you can't, if you are like already teaching a curriculum, like if your school is like, we teach this social studies curriculum, you're more than welcome to just come grab stuff as a supplementer as well. However, like I said, you are more than welcome, like they're set up to be a full course. So it will have everything if you wanted to take it and kind of teach the whole course. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome, of course. Do students need their own accounts for OER? To use Project Score, yes, but that's in the kind of setting up the account part that I can show y'all where to find it. Not to be cynical, but how is this provided for free? We get that question a lot, exactly. Honestly, I think it comes from the belief of essentially that this stuff, like high quality educational materials, should be free, and we're funded privately. So the person who funds us is very, it just really wants to be able to have this provided for teachers online and free. Therefore, all of our stuff is, right? And it will be forever. So that's the idea. Yeah, and basically it's just, we're lucky to have a team of people that are also very passionate about it. The people that develop our curriculum is just, scholars, history teachers, English teachers, a lot of different historians, things like that are helping us build out our stuff. And so it's really just a group of passionate people that believes in the idea that all of this should be available for teachers, and that nobody should have to be waiting for the next publisher to put out a new edition of their book to have a great opportunity teach, because our stuff being online, we're able to update it more frequently as well. So let's see, but that's a great question. I hope I answered it for you, because people do ask me that and I'm like, it's really not a catch, I promise. Let me stop sharing so that I can put up my OER project site and we can kind of click along. So 1 second, let me just go ahead and share my screen here. Uh-oh, why? Got stuck. Sometimes the multiple screen thing, it just does weird things. All right, I got it. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead first though, and I'm going to post the link in the chat about just like where you can come and click on our site. So oerproject.com. And then you'll be able to click along with me, or if you just want to watch me kind of go through it, you're more than welcome to as well. But let me stop and share this now. All right, perfect. Y'all can all see the site where I'm at. Yeah, okay, cool. So going to the site, this is, I logged in and this is kind of what it already looks like. When you go to courses, that's where you see all of the courses with all of their layouts. So for example, if I wanted to go to World History 1200, I can just go ahead on course home and it'll take me to the unit page with everything. And this is where, like, if I were to click into the units and stuff like that, I would be able to see all of the stuff. I'm going to go back one more time to just show you where to access those modules. So for example, right here where it's on the 1200, if you click right here with teaching this course, that will take you over to those self-paced modules that I was kind of telling you about. And obviously, as y'all can see, you know, being the expert that I am, I already completed mine, but this is where you find them. But yes, so these are the ones that you can do self-paced. Oops, I see the chat, hold on. Okay, got it, cool. All right, so then from there, I'm gonna go over to not courses. This is like stuck at the top of the screen for some reason and I can't hold on. There we go. I'm going to click on teacher resources. And this is where you can find stuff probably the most easily just in terms of of it all being there on the side for you. So kind of going through the resources that we have under our teacher resources page. First and foremost, we've got course planning. So this is just the OER project teaching guide, for example. Like if I clicked on this, I would be able to, it's kind of gives the similar thing as those self-paced modules, but it just goes over the entire framework units. It just breaks it all down. So if you want to go through this, it's kind of another option to those self-paced modules. I have some integrations. I should ask the whole group. Let's see. Let's see. We can, if you guys have questions, you can definitely ask me as we go along through this part as well. Hold on. Let me stop sharing my screen. I need to fix, for some reason the window is stuck and I just can't get it to navigate. Give me 1 second. I was just struggling with the Wi-Fi and stuff. All right. So we've got that link up there. And let me stop hold on. Let me share my screen really quick and I'll go back to it. All right, so now this should work better. Sorry about that. Okay, so going back over to teacher resources. This was where I found the planning guide. In order to find any of the graphic organizers and tools, you can go through here. And you can see a lot of them just are available there. So there's claim testing, feedback form. There's a lot of just graphic organizers that go with each one. And so it's a lot of things in here, as you can see as well, it's for all the courses. So we have BHP stuff, we have WHP stuff, we have AP stuff. So it's all kind of together here when you go through the teacher resources part. But if you're looking to just kind of grab stuff, then that's totally fine. Posters and visual aids, these are also available and helpful for the to put in either your Google Classroom or to hang up and put in your classroom. Something that I really want to show y'all that is super cool about our stuff as well is that we have our own graphic bios that our team has kind of developed over the years. And the idea is that they all include just different historical people within the graphic novel focus. So for example, if I wanted to, this also shows you where they're located within the course. But for example, I'm just going to go ahead and click on a person within here. This is a world history. So I'm clicking on Babata. and then it's going to load. And just so you guys can see kind of an example of the graphic novel aspect. And so this is something that a lot of teachers in our courses like really love, because I know sometimes people think that graphic novels, it's like, oh, it's a picture book and stuff, but no, it's on level, it's very rigorous. It's just not, it's just in a different format. But a lot of times like this is a really great way for like, in my perspective, especially if you're supplementing using our materials, these are some great things to come and grab, is these graphic bios. And then hold on, let me see. Okay, perfect. So then under literacy supports, that's where you see, for example, this is our 3 closed reads. Yeah, exactly. And there is also a template. Exactly, Kelly. She said that this would be great to introduce on there and then have kids do on their own. 100%. Yeah. And we have templates for that as well. And yeah, kids get really into that as a part of a project for sure. This is what I was mentioning with our 3 closed reads part of it. You can kind of see like there's like a template here. There's a graphic organizer that's there to help, but the idea is eventually they'll kind of just internalize it.
So sorry to interrupt. I guess this is kind of where I was asking about the integration. Are you able to like link this or post this like through Google Classroom or Canvas or,
yes,
and then the kids can work on it online and then you can go in and see it?
In terms of like the whole, like
if you wanted them to fill out this close read form, but you just wanted them to do it online.
Oh, yeah.
And you link that through your LMS and then they can work on it directly online?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, exactly. So we do have cartridges. It depends, like, so 2 things. We have cartridges, which is like, if you wanted like an OER icon in Clever, like that is doable. And then there's also, let me go back and show you the integration for when I was in courses. I forgot to show y'all the most important thing. I always do this, which is just going on like how you actually put these into Google Classroom and stuff like that. So let me show you really quick. I'm back out of teacher resources. I just went into one of the courses, and I'm going to go ahead and click on like this activity. So, or I need to find not an activity. I need to find a something to read for them. Hold on, pause. Let me just go back over here. So, but like, even if I want to do that, this is a video right here. So if I click on this video, you see here, it pauses it. You have an option where you can pause it at key ideas, and it all like the discussion questions are there, which I think is cool in terms of getting kids to just be into it a little bit more. But if you want to put this anywhere, this is where you just click that little arrow and then you see Google Classroom, link, embed, all of those things. So then, and that's, so like, that's how you could do those in terms of reading as well. Yeah, exactly. Pre-made ed puzzle, 100%. I love those. And it tells you the questions within the lessons as well. I just need to find y'all one quick thing because I need to show you how to change the Lexile levels. That's obviously like super important. So let me go ahead and click that. You know, just the Wi-Fi, doing Wi-Fi things. All right. So let me click. So I'm just gonna click, for example, this is a PDF article of like innovators in the Industrial Revolution. So if I wanted to download this, I click download, I go to PDF, and that's where I can select the different version of Lexile. And so if you were to just go and download it, it would put it out at 1,190, but it can go down to 830 for this particular one. And then also on this, for this article, for example, yes, someone actually, I was just looking because for some reason this one, I didn't see the Spanish, but they do have it in Spanish. That being said, the one, so you can, as you can see here, this one has the Lexiles and then the Spanish option. The one thing I will say, unfortunately, and this is for me as someone who loves working with ELLs as well, is they don't, the Lexiles don't adjust within the Spanish, unfortunately. So you can utilize these with your students, that if they have those needs, like for a Spanish article, all of our materials are available in a Spanish translation, but it's probably going to be at a higher level. So that's the one caveat that I just want to tell you up front, but it is available in Spanish. So let me just show all the things. But yeah, and then also that's the cool part as well, is there's audio recordings available of our things too, so that if you have kids who need oral administration, and it's not a computer voice or anything either, it's like all of our team kind of split it and we read the articles together. So that's that part. So yes, that was the how to change the Lexile and integrate on Google Classroom. Let me see, I'm going to show y'all one last thing on the teacher resources page. Oh, and this is where you find the state standards alignment. So right down here, you can click on just where it says state specific planning resources there. And then go down and find our lovely Nevada with our lovely Nevada state bird, as it's called in scientific terms. Thank you once again. But yes, that's where you can see all of the info that will help you kind of align this to your classroom. Yeah, and so all of those things. So that's with the Nevada part. And then the last thing I'll show you is the community that I was mentioning before. And this is where you can find a lot of the support. So this is the OER Project teacher community. Notice I didn't need to log off or anything in order to, or do a new login in order to get there. It just brings me here. So there's different things. This is where you see events, PD, planning resources, a bunch of stuff. But what I want to show y'all is the forums part. So it's kind of like our little OER Reddit. I'm probably not supposed to say that, but it's okay. It's where people are able to go on and kind of just share their different things that's going on. So these are the different forums. Like I mentioned, this is the one that I would very highly recommend for y'all to join. It's just the one that says new to OER project. And so it's mentioning a bunch of different things. You can read, people have said things like, oh, my experience using OER for the year, or just different things that people will share in here. How do I change a student's passwords? What is the terms? Like it's just like a cool place that you'll see, and you'll see there's a bunch of views and a bunch of replies where people are sharing information and ideas with one another. And I don't know, I'm one of those people, I love to connect teachers. I feel like teachers, like, we got it, y'all got it for real. Y'all just need to talk to each other sometimes. And I love that we kind of have the ability to facilitate that on our site. We also have a book club within this community as another way for teachers to connect, but just like a lot of really exciting stuff going on. The other thing is there's a lot of blog posts and just things like that to learn more about our stuff that people have written over the time as well. But yeah, is there anything else that y'all wanted me to show you within the site that I haven't gotten to yet? Just wondering, because I think I had everything on my list. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss showing y'all anything that you were like, wait, I really need to see that. Okay, so geography specific resources. Yes, let me show you. So again, so I'm going to show you two ways. One is, because I didn't show you the way you can just search some stuff here. So obviously you can definitely get the map stuff from teacher resources, but geography specific, I can just type in geography, because I just did that, like, yeah. And then what you can do, what I like, for example, if you wanted to teach 1200, you could go ahead and just select that. And then all of the responses will just be from that one course. But if you're kind of just looking for materials a la carte, geography, unit 1 mapping, right? There's like different things that you can see in that you could pull from. Does that answer your question a little bit? Yes. Okay, perfect. Because yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, we have a bunch of them. That's the easiest way to just go on and grab some. Oh, and then the last thing, let me show y'all the placemats that I was mentioning. That reminded me, but that was a good question. Thank you. Let's see, course planning. So this is the practice progressions placemat for Big History Project, for example. So here you can see on this side is just like the different skills that are within BHP and where they're located. Let me pull up a world history one just because they're a little bit bigger and easier to kind of see. This one. So now, as you can see, like for world history, the skills are different. So reading, writing, claim testing, causation, comparison, contextualization, CCOT, sourcing. Where do I find it, right? This is all within 1750. So it's like, okay, within unit 1, this is the claim testing. Within unit 2, this is it. And you can kind of see as it goes across, just the progression of it getting more and more rigorous. And so, yeah, but like I said, they're also all linked. So if I wanted to go ahead and click on this claim testing activity, I can click it right here and it'll take me to that activity. So yeah, most of the stuff can be found inside of teacher resources. But okay, I will stop sharing my screen. I know I've spoken a lot. Does anyone have any additional questions about just next steps or other things they want to know about how to use the site, especially for like our ELA teachers or our teachers that aren't looking for something super history specific? Anyone have questions? No? Okay. Well, that means I must have just done a really great job explaining all of the stuff. And let me go ahead and just put up let me just try to put up my presentation one more time just to show, just so you guys can see my email address and all of those things as we kind of finish up. Slideshow from current slide. Okay. Sorry. All the screens. Okay. So yeah, if you have any additional questions, you're more than welcome to join at events@oerproject.com. And then the last thing I will say, or just like a question I'll post to y'all, if you want, you're more than welcome to kind of keep clicking away on our site and going through it. Hold on. Stop sharing. It's like not sharing the correct thing. Anyway, and clicking through you're more than welcome to. But yeah, such a great resource. Thank you for your time. Absolutely. Anytime. And you're more than welcome to reach out. I'll also just put my personal email, like my OER project email in the chat if you want to reach out to me directly. More than welcome. And there oops, my bad. I accidentally only shared it to one person. Let me fix it. But yes. And then, yeah, is anyone have anything to share in terms of they're like, I'm really excited about bringing this into my classroom? Thank you for everything. This is awesome. Yay. That's what we love to hear. Yes. And I'm super excited to see how y'all kind of want to put this in your class. I'm excited about exploring it and sharing it with other content area teachers to support literacy. Yes, exactly. And as an ELA person, it's always about how are we teaching that and reinforcing those literacy skills across content areas, especially as our students closer and closer to post-secondary. Love that. Well, that's awesome. Well, thank y'all so much. Like I said, feel free to reach out to me anytime. And then if you have any questions or whatever, otherwise, I know y'all have a long day of professional learning. If you want to take this next 7 minutes and kind of have a minute for yourself, you're more than welcome to, but it's been an absolute pleasure. And I wish all of y'all so much luck and success for the 2023-2024 school year. Yes, hope everyone has a great weekend. Me as well. Thank you. Let's see. All right. And Brittany, is there anything else for me?
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
If anyone has questions about anything, just let me know. But yeah, thank you so much, Kristen.
Awesome. Thank you. So nice meeting y'all and have a great day. All right. Bye.
Bye. Okay. If you're joining session 2 with Jennifer Moss, we'll just wait for her to show up. I think the session starts at 10:25, so we'll just wait for her.